Oh my goodness. Royal watchers and celebrity truth seekers. Your friendly neighborhood royal commentator is back with some absolutely explosive revelations about what's happening behind those perfectly manicured hedges at the Sussex mansion in Montecito. Grab your tea, settle in, and prepare yourselves for what might be the most devastating collapse of a carefully crafted image we've seen in years. Now, I know you guys are excited for more. But before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, let me tell you, in all my time covering celebrities and royalty, I have never witnessed such a spectacular unraveling as what's happening with Meghan Markle right now. We're looking at a perfect storm of disasters hitting simultaneously. From household staff fleeing like it's a sinking ship, to her Netflix show getting absolutely savaged by viewers and critics alike. This isn't just a bad week for the Duchess. This is potentially the beginning of the end for brand Sussex as we know it. The latest bombshell? Meghan and Harry's longtime nanny, someone who has been with the family for 5 years and knows all their intimate secrets, has reportedly left her childcare position and moved into the role of house manager. Now, on the surface, this might sound like a simple career progression, but my sources with direct knowledge of the situation tell a completely different story. This wasn't a promotion. This was an escape route from what insiders describe as an unbearable childcare environment. Just think about that for a moment. Someone was so desperate to get away from directly working with Meghan on childcare matters that they willingly traded the intimate, loving role of caring for children to instead manage scheduling, catering, and household logistics. That's not climbing the career ladder. That's climbing the escape ladder to create some much-needed distance while still keeping a paycheck. What makes this situation particularly shocking is that this isn't an isolated incident. Since Archie was born, the Sussex household has reportedly gone through nannies faster than Harry goes through polo shirts. Some lasted mere weeks before heading for the hills. One insider famously revealed that they went through 3 nannies in just 6 weeks after Archie's birth. Can you even imagine the chaos and instability that creates for the children? The revolving door of childcare staff paints a troubling picture of what life must be like inside the Montecito mansion. Sources describe a household atmosphere dominated by control, impossible standards, and an environment so tense that even the most professional and experienced childcare providers simply cannot tolerate it long term. These aren't inexperienced babysitters we're talking about. These are top-tier, highly qualified nannies who have likely worked with other high-profile families without issue. Perhaps the most devastating blow to Meghan's carefully curated image of perfect family life is the report that even her own mother, Doria Ragland, has stepped back from her once active role in the household. This is the woman who was constantly by Meghan's side during the royal wedding, Archie's birth, and the early days of their independence. When your own mother, your most loyal supporter, creates distance, that sends a powerful message about the environment you've created. The hiring process for Sussex nannies is reportedly as bizarre as it is problematic. According to insiders, potential nannies go through what can only be described as an audition rather than a professional interview. The agency is allegedly instructed to hide Harry and Meghan's identities from applicants, but then whispers to candidates who they're actually meeting. The nanny is then expected to pretend to be surprised when meeting the famous couple, essentially starting the entire working relationship with a manufactured fake interaction. Just imagine beginning your professional childcare job with an actual performance rather than authentic communication. It speaks volumes about how genuine connections are valued, or rather not valued, in the Sussex household. What kind of foundation does that create for a healthy working relationship built on trust and mutual respect? The answer is becoming painfully obvious as nanny after nanny heads for the exit. This troubling pattern reminds many royal watchers of the allegations that emerged during Meghan's time as a working royal, when palace aides reportedly filed complaints about bullying behavior that left staff in tears. At the time, Meghan's team dismissed those claims as a calculated smear campaign, But now, with similar patterns emerging in California, the consistency raises serious questions. Different country, different staff, same accusations. What's the common denominator? While the nanny nightmare unfolds behind closed doors, Meghan's public image is facing an equally catastrophic crisis with the spectacular failure of her Netflix show With Love, Meghan. What was supposed to be her triumphant return to the spotlight, her chance to showcase her authentic self and connect with audiences on her own terms, has instead become an unmitigated disaster that industry insiders are already whispering might be one of Netflix's most embarrassing flops. The reviews have been absolutely brutal across social media platforms and entertainment blogs. Words like contrived, overproduced, vanity project, soulless cooking show, and unwatchable trash are dominating the conversation. Even outlets that have historically been supportive of Meghan have gone conspicuously silent, unwilling to waste their credibility defending something the public has so overwhelmingly rejected. What went wrong? Viewers expected warmth, authenticity, and genuine connection. Instead, they got what critics describe as scripted awkwardness, a sterile kitchen set, and Meghan's apparent obsession with controlling every aspect of the production. Rather than coming across as relatable, sources say she appeared desperate for adoration. Instead of inviting viewers into her world, she seemed to push them away with her need to dominate the spotlight. The most telling aspect of this Netflix fiasco isn't just the negative reviews, it's the deafening silence from Hollywood. Where are all those celebrity friends and industry allies who once rushed to defend Meghan at every turn? Their absence speaks volumes about how the industry truly views this latest venture. In Hollywood, being publicly criticized is survivable, but being ignored and dismissed is the kiss of death for any career. Netflix executives are reportedly re-evaluating future content plans with the Sussexes. Corporate speak for, "We're questioning whether this partnership is worth the investment." Imagine going from a reported $100 million golden deal to potentially being sidelined altogether, not because of royal politics this time, but because audiences simply aren't interested. For someone who left royal life partly to control her own narrative, this must be a particularly devastating blow. What's especially ironic about this dual crisis of household staff and Netflix failure is how they both point to the same fundamental issue: an apparent disconnect between the carefully crafted public image and the behind-the-scenes reality. The perfect family portrait that Meghan has worked so hard to present to the world seems to be crumbling under the weight of what insiders describe as an unsustainable approach to both personal and professional relationships. Sources close to the couple suggest that Harry is increasingly caught in the middle of these mounting disasters, torn between loyalty to his wife and growing concern about their diminishing public support and commercial viability. The man who once stood proudly beside Meghan, defending her against all criticism, now reportedly faces the uncomfortable reality that their joint brand is in serious trouble on multiple fronts. For Harry, who sacrificed his royal role, family relationships, and lifelong connections to build a new life with Meghan in California, the stakes couldn't be higher. If their commercial ventures continue to falter and their household remains in constant turmoil, what remains of the dream they sold to the world when leaving royal life behind? The fairy tale of freedom and authenticity they promised is looking increasingly like a fantasy that neither their staff nor the public is buying. The most fascinating aspect of this unfolding situation is watching how swiftly public perception can change. Just a few years ago, Meghan was portrayed as the breath of fresh air the monarchy needed, the modern, independent woman bringing the royal family into the 21st century. Now, following controversy after controversy, staff departures, family feuds, and commercial failures, the narrative has shifted dramatically. The woman once hailed as a revolutionary force is increasingly viewed as isolated, controlling, and struggling to maintain both personal relationships and professional relevance. Industry experts suggest that what we're witnessing might be the inevitable consequence of building a brand entirely on perception rather than substance. When your primary value proposition is being authentically yourself, audiences are remarkably skilled at detecting when that authenticity feels manufactured. Similarly, when you position yourself as a champion of kindness and compassion, reports of staff turmoil and family estrangement create a contradiction that's increasingly difficult to reconcile. For royal watchers and celebrity observers, the coming months will be absolutely crucial for the Sussex brand. Can they reverse this downward spiral? Will Netflix give Meghan another chance to connect with audiences? Can they create stability in their household for their children's sake? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for what was once hailed as the most modern chapter in royal history? The most tragic aspect of this situation is how it potentially impacts innocent children caught in the middle. Archie and Lilibet deserve consistency, stability, and loving caregivers in their lives. A revolving door of nannies creates attachment issues that child development experts warn can have lasting consequences. While adults can navigate the complexities of fame, fortune, and public scrutiny, children need simple stability above all else. What makes this entire situation so riveting is that it represents the classic Hollywood rise and fall narrative playing out in real time. The former actress who captured a prince's heart, walked away from the monarchy, and set out to conquer Hollywood on her own terms, now faces the harsh reality that neither household staff nor Netflix audiences seem particularly enchanted by the real-world version of what once seemed like a perfect fairy tale. As this drama continues to unfold, one thing is absolutely certain. The carefully constructed image of Sussex perfection is cracking under pressure from all sides. The polished Instagram photos, the curated public appearances, the lofty statements about compassion and authenticity, all of it seems increasingly at odds with the growing evidence of household chaos and professional disappointment. For someone who has built her brand on controlling the narrative, this simultaneous collapse of both private stability and public appeal represents the ultimate nightmare scenario. When you can no longer rely on loyal staff to maintain your home life or enthusiastic audiences to support your professional endeavors, what remains of the foundation you've built? The coming weeks will reveal whether this is merely a temporary setback or the beginning of a more permanent decline for brand Sussex. Will they respond with humility and course correction, or will they double down with more carefully staged appearances and declarations of victimhood? Whatever path they choose, one thing is clear. The days of automatic adoration and unquestioning support appear to be rapidly fading into the rearview mirror of their Montecito life. Ta-ta, and bye for now.